We're continuing our series of little interviews with the panelists for our Six Nations preview lunch in aid of the My Name'5 Doddie Foundation and the Rob Burrow MND Centre. Today I am joined by one of the legends of the game, Tamara Taylor. Tam, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
No, I'm excited. I'm talking to a World Cup winner, a world record holder, an ex-England captain. He's still third on the most cap list under Jason and Rocky. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, fourth.
Who's that now then? Who's
Katie Daly McLean.
Of course.
I know. I'll let her off because it's her and she's all right.
So what are you up to these days?
Mainly driving up and down the motorway in between work and playing and training. So I'm still living in the northeast, but I'm player coaching at Saracens, which I started during COVID year, and then I've continued this season. So wow. Yeah, lots of travel, lots of time with myself in the car.
Okay, so what's the playlist?
It's been a bit of a mixture. Don't tell anyone, but I'm starting to try and learn Swedish because I've been assistant coaching the Swedish women's team for the last couple of seasons. So my mate who's captaining, who's coaching, she started Swedish lessons at the university. So recently I've been getting the old, right, I'm going to slyly get a bit of Swedish going. So okay. Don't ask me to say anything or do anything. I think I could count to 10 before Christmas, but that might have gone from my memory.
Brilliant.
And then a bit of Heart FM. I'm quite kind of chill. Okay. I like a bit of 90s in there, just take me back to my youth. And I often use it actually to make phone calls, those drives. So if I've got work calls to make, people to catch up with, driving time is talking time.
So if anyone wants a rendition of Relight My Fire by Take That, you're the kiddie, right?
Yeah, I will be there ready. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, well that's set. Mr. Flatman, that's set that up nicely for the third. So thank you for agreeing to be our panelist. Really appreciate it. Like all of them, you're giving your time freely to support these two MND charities, which is incredible and hugely appreciated. When I sent you that little begging note, what compelled you to want to come along?
It wasn't a begging note, was it? Lots of things. Firstly, definitely because of the charity, and as you mentioned, the two guys that are heavily at the heart of that with Rob and Doddie, they're rugby players. I don't care what code you play, you're still a rugby player to me. And I think from a personal point of view, motor neuron disease is something that is for me an absolute worst nightmare. You have things in your life where you're like, oh, I don't really want to break my leg, or I don't want to whatever, and the more I've seen about that disease, the more I just think we have got to find a cure. And the more that we can club people together to raise money to put into that research, across all the different charities that are working on the same projects, then, we'll find it. I believe that we'll find it. So it definitely wasn't a begging, because I'd love to be involved in anything that can support raising money and finding a cure. And then on the side of that is, I love the Six Nations. I absolutely love it as a tournament. It's been ages since we've all properly been able to get together, been able to have a beer if you're having a beer, a glass of water if you're not. And I'm just excited to chat rugby and to get that buzz again that we've been missing for the last 18 months. So yeah, it wasn't begging. I'm begging to be involved.
Thank you. Well, I won't be having beer. I'm on keto, so I'll be drinking vodka and soda.
Slimline tonic.
Exactly. No bread rolls and flats. I won't be eating your chips. I guess the women's game has absolutely gone stratospheric since you and the others achieved that incredible goal in 2017, and actually for years before that you were consistent Grand Slam champions, consistent 5 and Six Nations winners. So but 2017 really felt like a big catalyst for the women's game, do you think?
Are you talking World Cup or Six Nations?
Well, both in actual fact, because of course you won both. So
So Six Nations wise, it's actually one of my favourite moments. We played over in Ireland as our last game. The under-20s boys were playing as well. We won. It actually turns out in the end that I was concussed, but it didn't get picked up until the following day. But the whole event, the togetherness of the team, like how hard we'd fought that Six Nations. And it's always nice having the last game abroad. I find it's nice to get everyone together. We sat and had a beer with a couple of the boys from the 20s, and they'd won as well. So it was a real nice, feel good feeling then. The World Cup, we were finalists. So that was the one that New Zealand won. So we were 2014.
14, apologies.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody says it's a massive positive because we were in the final and oh my God, you got a silver medal, that's great. But probably for the players that were in there and, you know, the oldies like me that have been around for a while, that's the one that got away. I think that's probably the one that we arguably on paper should have won, having beaten New Zealand over there a few weeks before, really. So it was brilliant, and a lot of people watched that final and watched that tournament, and it did again raise the bar for the women's game. But yeah, my silver medal doesn't come out very often, I'm afraid. That one.
No, but the gold one will. Constant.
The gold one doesn't even really look gold anymore because I've had it everywhere. I wore it non-stop for 7 days, 7 nights. Only took it off to shower. It's chipped. It's scraped. I've kissed it a million times.
Well, we'll try and move over my little faux pas there and get with my history.
I tried to brush it so that no one noticed. But
you did brilliantly. I'm not even going to bother editing it. I'm just going to show that I'm human, right? So obviously the autumn was a big deal for the Red Roses, overcoming the Black Ferns, and irrespective of what anybody said, they're still an awesome side, and we gave them a good hiding. Do you think that sets us in good store for the Six Nations?
Yeah, definitely. I think the teams are definitely coming on in the Six Nations from the women's side. Like I think you'd said about Scotland men's having a bit of a resurgence, and their women are doing exactly the same. There's been a lot more investment into them. The players, a bunch of the players have been professional, or at least semi-professional for a period of time. They didn't play a lot of club rugby, some of them, during the year that COVID sort of shut us all down, but it meant that they trained together as a group. So I think they're definitely on the up as a nation, and it sounds like everybody else is starting to pull their finger out. The Welsh Union are coming together, hopefully the Irish as well. And that France-England game, as always, will be the massive one. It has been all the way through. You know, even when England haven't won and when France haven't won, that match has always been the big one. So that'll be probably again the one to see who's sort of where people are in the pecking order leading into the World Cup. New Zealand and the autumn, it's a double-edged sword for me. Like, always want to beat New Zealand, always, but at the same time, I want everybody to be competitive. I want all the games to be competitive. And watching those games, I thought it was quite clear that New Zealand hadn't had the same amount of time together. They hadn't had their club competitions had been paused, and ours hadn't been over in England. So I'm hoping that over this next sort of 10-month period before the World Cup, everybody gets a chance to play, everybody gets a chance to train, and we kind of level that playing field up again, because that's what's going to make the World Cup exciting this time next year. Not this time next year, I keep thinking it's October. In 10 months time it'll be
we will edit that one out.
Edit that bit out where I've forgotten it's January. That'd be great.
We'll do that, and the admission that you're going to sing Relight My Fire on the day.
Yeah, if you could delete that, because I need to just check the words.
Maybe you could do it in Swedish.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, maybe.
Well, if that isn't worth 200 quid admission price, I don't know what is. Not only do you get a 4-course lunch, not only do you get a champagne reception, not only do you get to listen to Tam and the Cleo sisters, which I mean in itself is worth, again, the admission price. Gemma Rowland from Wales, Steph Johnson, who, by the way, is literally the fastest person I have ever seen. I mean, I'm going from a fairly kind of static start, but that girl is absolutely lightning and a lovely, lovely lady as well. So not only do you get all that, you get a World Cup winner singing Relight My Fire. What more could you need?
Just get yourself a ticket. That's all you need to do, really.
There you go. There you go. Nothing more to be said. Tam, thank you ever so much. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing you on the 3rd.
See you there. I will share my bread roll with you because you're not eating it. So perfect.
I'll just eat the butter. Thanks, Tam. Take care.
You now licking the bread roll, licking the butter off the bread roll.
Sharing's caring.
I can't wait. I literally can't wait.
Take care. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Paul.